Alright, welcome to the Spider-Man No Way Home review.
Oh my gosh.
We've seen it twice, both already.
Yep.
By the way, if you didn't listen to the last podcast, Connor Lane in for Drew. Ironically, I saw my first viewing with Drew, who's in Nashville right now, gearing up for the Music City Bowl. Boiler up, baby.
Boiler up.
Yeah, Connor Lane in studio with us. So my first viewing was with Drew and another friend. Second viewing, we sat next to each other, me and Lane. Saw it in IMAX. IMAX is nothing. It's
disappointing.
Disappointing. Paid literally $15 or $66 for four ticks.
$5 extra than
It was awful.
per ticket.
But the movie was still great. We're gonna give our thoughts on it. So yeah, let's just dive right in. So I first want to talk about where does this movie rank in Spider-Man movies?
Spider-Man movies? I think
That you have seen.
I've seen all of them. So, I watched Spider-Man my whole life. I mean, I watched most of them when I was younger, so I don't remember everything. But No Way Home, I mean, it brings everyone.
What?
Spoilers.
Yes, spoilers. That was a pretty weird pause. Spoilers. I'll put one in the beginning of the show.
Lots of
as
spoilers.
well. Lots of spoilers.
A lot of spoilers.
If you haven't seen the movie already, what are you doing with your life? Spoilers coming. That was a pretty funny pause right there. It's like someone was like, he's like, points at me. We need to talk about spoilers. All right, let's get into it. Ranking,
Okay.
go.
So, what I was saying before is it brings everyone back. Everyone from each Spider-Man, which is a very great thing to do for Marvel and Sony, or however they're working this out now. Because before, it was just Sony and nothing to do with Marvel, so they couldn't do anything with Marvel. Now they are. So, I think it's 2, only because I'm going to give, historic, nostalgia bias with the first one ever. I don't know why, but that one just stays in my mind the most with Tobey. I think Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man, but I think it's 2. It probably will move up to 1 once I get over the fact.
Wait, is this out of all 7?
Yeah, all of the Spider-Man. So Andrew's, Tobey's,
Which one?
the first Spider-Man.
Got
Tobey's
it.
first.
Okay.
The first one ever.
Okay, so I've seen 4 Spider-Man movies in theaters. All the Spider-Man, before seeing this movie, I have not seen any of the Tobey movies. I watched some after my first viewing, and they're quite good. I just haven't seen all of them, so I can't rank them yet. So the 3 movies before this one I've seen in theaters were The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. Out of those 4, I'll take at 4, Far From Home, 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is honestly one of my favorite movies of all time, but Homecoming and Far From Home, or No Way Home, are just masterpieces. And this movie is just a great time. It's a great time.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. It's really nice.
It brings some light to a bad time that we're going through still with COVID.
Yeah.
Which is some BS that we're still going through this, but.
And if the college football playoff semifinals get canceled, I'm going to go back and see this.
Yeah,
it's a good coping mechanism.
It's something to make you happy in a hard time.
Yeah. All right. Let's dive into the performances. So, okay, spoilers. The performances that I liked the most. My favorite performance in this movie was Andrew Garfield. He is my favorite Spider-Man, which we'll get into later. We'll do some rankings about favorite Spider-Man and favorite Peter Parker. But he is just having so much fun in this movie.
Yeah.
He gives a great performance.
Yeah, he adds very good comedy, which, it's always there for Spider-Man because it's like a witty teenager, 17-year-old in high school. So the comedy is always there, but he adds a lot more than what the other 2 can add.
He gives his own, it's basically what the movies are supposed to do, but he gives his own spin on Peter Parker, or Spider-Man, if you will. Like, in the lab scene, Toby and Tom are just, they're planning everything out, and Andrew's just, he's the comedic relief in this movie. It's fantastic. I love comedy. If you know me, I love comedy. And I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. he's also showing the audience. He's begging the people at Sony to give him another movie because there is so. I put this on Twitter. After my first viewing, there's so much more left to be told with Andrew Garfield.
He's the only Spider-Man that doesn't have 3 movies now. I guess
this counts.
This is Tom Holland's movie.
Four.
Okay.
4 appearances as Spider-Man.
Whatever. Okay, this is Tom Holland's movie. Tobey Maguire had 3.
Andrew's
the
got
Amazing
2.
Spider-Man had 2.
So, I mean, he's just telling everyone that, hey, I'm still Spider-Man, whether you like it or not. You can give Tom Holland all the publicity, all the new movies you want, but I'm not done yet. I'm still a relatively young age where I can do my own stunts.
Yeah, the last movie only came out 2014.
2014.
Yeah, 7 years ago was his last movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, what has he done? What has Andrew Garfield done before? Like, I'm trying to think of other roles
he had a movie where he played some
was in
guy
some
in
war
an
movie.
old war movie.
He was in, I think it was,
I don't
Hacksaw
know.
Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I think that's what it is. Anyway, another great performance. From my second viewing, I really took this performance in a lot more. But, hold on, let me get to my notes here. Jamie Foxx was fantastic. He was so good. And he had a great comedic relief, and he was just, oh my. We're gonna pause this podcast, and we're gonna watch the rest of the Houston-Auburn game. We'll be right back.
Fox.
Okay. We thought we were gonna watch the I don't even know who was playing. It's such a boring game.
It's Auburn-Houston.
Auburn and Houston. We were gonna watch it, but who cares? It's a bowl game between 2 crappy teams. Anyway, Jamie Foxx. He's so good in this movie. He is so funny. I mean, Electro isn't the greatest villain in the Spider-Man multiverse, is what we can call it now, but he gives a great performance, and he's funny. You can tell I'm a big comedy guy because I'm talking about 2 funny performances, and don't quote me on this, but what is Jamie Foxx, meaningful roles has Jamie Foxx been in the past couple of years? I don't know, and you can just tell he was having so much fun, and he loves what he's doing. So, you thoughts on Jamie Foxx, Lane?
I think it was a great performance. Electro, he kind of has a stupid background. He's a nerdy guy that works at Oscorp and falls into
a bed of electric eels.
A pit of electric eels with water and electricity and all this random stuff that he just turns into an electric man. I mean,
you gotta watch where you fall. One of the better lines in the movie. Funny.
Yeah, I think. Well, he was talking to Sandman when that happened. They both fall into a pit of some sort to become what they are. But no, Jamie Foxx is a great guy. Like himself, great everything. I mean, he had good lines. He had the Black Spider-Man line.
It's funny. It's just funny.
It's just he's a great guy. But Electro is kind of. I mean. He seems overpowered at some points. Doc Ock had to stop him at the end of the movie when the Spider-Mans couldn't. I know it would never happen, but if Doc Ock wasn't there, the Spider-Mans were probably going to die from what he was doing.
He wasn't in my notes, but shout out Alfred Molina. I love his voice. He's actually from London. I mean, he's English. I'm not sure if he's from London, but he's
Tom
English.
Holland, Andrew Garfield, and him.
Yeah,
probably more.
I mean, he's got a great accent. He's in Monsters University. He was great in Monsters. He's great in Monsters University.
And the CGI on him because they used the young face, whatever they did to him, but they made him look like how he looked.
Yeah.
In the original ones.
Also, the CGI. I know in the CGI wasn't. It bothered me a little bit when they're in but I'm trying to figure out the scene. Oh, the scene when the tree scene where they're in the woods. It just when they were shooting over Jamie Foxx's shoulder to Flint Marco, whatever his name is, and then Clint Marco, and then Tom. It just looked weird and it kind of bugged me. But
yeah, the CGI budget was obviously not huge because the lizard dude.
Lizard was animated. The lizard was fit into the movie. He fit into the movie really well CGI wise, but no one cared that he was in the movie.
But you could tell they didn't want him to be in there because first of all, he didn't go into the apartment. He stayed in the truck, which I understand.
They don't want him on the screen, which is sorry.
He also during the whole fight he had the one little part, but other than that he was strapped up. with the webs and was playing tag with the two Ned and MJ, which is like, what? I mean, he sucks. The worst villain out of all five of them. He's
Sorry,
the worst.
Lizard. Sorry, Lizard. But now, honestly, some Spider-Man fans are gonna love hearing this because Zendaya and Jacob Batalon, or as he pronounced it on some interview, Batalon. Fantastic performances. Zendaya, I said this on Twitter, I believe, in my first viewing. If I didn't, then you're hearing me. You're gonna hear me say it now. My goodness, I can't talk. Zendaya is gonna be a star. She's going to be a star.
She already is a star.
I mean, she's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Because I'm glad I was with Zendaya the whole ride. I was there for Shake It Up. Haven't watched Euphoria yet.
Yeah.
I was a little skeptical for her playing MJ and her getting a bigger role in Noah in Far From Home, but she's awesome. She's awesome.
She plays a very good teenage girl. I mean, she plays good. She loves Tom. They work well together. They're dating in real life, according to a lot of people, or even them, I don't know. But they play very well together, and Ned plays good in it too. He's not Flash, or well, I guess usually the best friend is Flash in all the Spider-Mans, but I mean Ned plays a good
friend. Flash was the bully.
Flash in both movies, there's a Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
And in the comics, Flash Thompson is Peter's best friend.
Oh, okay.
And Flash turns into the god. Oh, what's his name?
Harry Osborn.
No.
Yes.
Well, okay, yeah. Harry Osborn is the Flash Thompson for Andrew.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah,
Sidetracking aside, Jacob Batalon he is not done with sorcery. I mean,
oh yeah, for
dude,
sure.
that's awesome. That's sweet. I could watch. I also said this in my tweet. I could watch Doctor Strange and all those sorcerer characters for hours. I love how they strip him of his accent. I don't really like his accent. He sounds fantastic in this movie. The echoes of when he's in the the dungeon. I mean, the wizard's dungeon is what they call it in the movie. What Ned and MJ call it. Yeah. When he's like, "You changed my spell 6 times." It sounded awesome. Sounded great. But Jacob Batalon, he should be in a Doctor Strange movie.
I mean,
not sure about the Multiverse of Madness, but he's got a subplot there, and I'm excited to see how that unfolds.
He fits too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also a good character.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. He has a good story. How he lost a ton of weight. Yeah, he's just a good character. And then, I'm reading my notes here. Okay. The final performance we're going to talk about is Willem Dafoe's performance. Now, I'm not a fan of the Green Goblin, like how they portray him, because his voice just gets on my nerves. That's how the character's supposed to be played. But yeah, he just does a great job. You can tell. I mean, just get a little repetitive here, but you can tell he wants to be there. I think he did his own stunts for this movie. I believe that's why he agreed to do it. And how he plays the demon inside of him and Norman Osborn is freaking awesome. Really good job by Willem Dafoe, who is super ugly. I'm not gonna lie.
The demon side is very good. Like, he is a scary character. He's probably
he's a scary looking dude.
He's scary.
No offense, Willem.
The lizard guy, he's supposed to be scary. He's a big dinosaur lizard, whatever you want to call him. But the scene where Tom is punching the living crap out of him in the apartments, and he's just smiling, is like menacing, like he's scary. Like, he plays the role really well for Green Goblin. But other than that, I don't know. Green Goblin's a great character for me.
I think we touched on all the performances. Also, Red Band May. Marissa Tomei does great.
Spoilers.
Yep. Yeah, Marissa Tomei does great in this movie. And also Jon Favreau does pretty good too. Okay, let's rank the Spider-Man and Peter Parkers. So, who is your favorite Spider-Man?
Spider-Man himself.
3 to 1. 3 to 1.
Okay, so 3. So I guess, so the strongest one, probably the best Spider-Man, because he's the strongest and fights the best. It might be controversial, but it's Tom. Only because Tom, he does some crazy stuff. He does the freight train or what? Or not freight train. Oh my, the boat.
Yep, the Staten Island Ferry.
The ferry. He pulls it back and does some crazy stuff. He There's a lot of other things. I think in the Civil War or no Marvel, the Avengers or the Endgame one.
What is it?
Falls on him.
What do you think?
So a big truck falls on him and he keeps it up. Some very heavy objects have fallen.
That might have
on him.
been in Civil War, but
And he fights, and he's probably, fought the biggest enemy ever.
He fought the dude.
He fought Thanos.
Thanos is what Drew would have said.
He fought the biggest character in Marvel history, Thanos, or the biggest villain. Sorry.
Literally, when we're watching my first viewing was with Drew, and I'm not sure which. I think it was Electro when they're in the forest scene and he's charging with the power lines. He's like, "Is that Thanos?" And I'm like, "Bro, come on." Okay.
No.
So your number one is Tom. Who's 2 and 3?
So number 1's Tom for Spider-Man. 2 is Toby, and 3 is Andrew. I don't know. I don't know why, but I think Toby. I guess it's more nostalgia based again. That I watched more of Toby's movies for some reason.
Yeah.
Even though I understood Andrew's movies better because I was of age to understand them better.
Yeah.
But Toby, I think Toby plays a better Spider than Andrew. But on the flip side, when it comes to Peter Parker's...
Wait. Hold off on that. I'll do my Spider-Man.
Okay.
We'll do Peter. I think we already know where we're going with Peter Parker. Listen, and my list is different, and why I'm not getting on him for having a different opinion than me, because they could go either way. Like, Peter Parker and Spider-Man is one of the most unique characters, and they're all special in their own different way. Yes.
One thing I want to say is the rereason why this argument is so hard is because all of them they all do great at what they're doing. So it's hard.
So my third Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire. Mostly because I haven't seen 2 of his movies. 3 is Tom Holland, or 2 is Tom Holland because I think he has more stuff going on with the Avengers stuff than being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And then number 1, my favorite, is Andrew Garfield, because that was the first Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the first Spider-Man movie that I saw in theaters, and just the nostalgia when he came out of the portal. I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna be like one of those guys that lies and say that they cried during the movie. I was crying on the inside because he's one of my favorite characters of all time. Like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is one of my favorite movie characters of all time, and it was just so good to see him again because he hasn't had a role in 7-ish years. So and he's more of a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man than an Avenger, which fits the criteria for the best Spider-Man. And so yeah, that's all I got. And then also another nostalgia thing right there when Andrew saves MJ, and I was like, oh my gosh, I knew it was coming. I knew he was gonna get emotional. He jumps off of the Statue of Liberty, and he saves MJ. Or no, first MJ is looking at Tom, and Tom gets smacked by something, and then Andrew just dives down, and he...
The something was Green Goblin, but...
Was it?
It was Green Goblin's ship.
Well, then how did it not impale him? That's
because it was the other side.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So, and then Andrew dives down to MJ, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before. And then he saves her, and then she says, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, he's not okay.
That was probably one of the best.
And then he's like, yeah, that was a tearjerker. Okay, flip side.
Peter Parker.
The best Peter Parker is 3, 2, 1. Tobey Maguire.
I don't agree with him.
What?
Okay. So when I think of Peter Parker, I think of like a smart, intelligent, but like also he's got to be a strong because he's Spider-Man.
No. Listen, Peter Parker is supposed to be this nerdy guy.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's smart, but he also has to be strong on the inside because he's a superhero.
All right, go ahead.
And witty. Okay, so I'm going with Andrew only because I love Andrew and he's my favorite out of all of them. he plays a really good. I think it changed. It was Toby, but after No Way Home, it changed just because of how big. Like he was definitely the best one out of all of them in the movie.
Wow, this is like your second hot grind of the week for the day. We recorded 2 episodes today. Hot grind of the week from Lane. Andrew Garfield is the best Peter Parker. Use code Ryan20 at checkout at MillerTools.com for all your grinding wheel and drill bit needs. Yeah, save yourself some money when you're buying something.
I guess it's controversial, but I just think he plays a good role as both people, and I think he has some smart comments, which Spider-Man does. He's witty, and he does that the best. Tom Holland has the best voice for a Peter Parker.
Yeah, agreed.
But he doesn't play the role the best. He still plays it good.
See,
but
how I see it is the worst Peter Parker is Andrew Garfield because I'm thinking of what, because he's not like charismatic as he is as Toby and Tom are, and he's just some subplot stuff. He's just not my favorite Peter Parker. Tom, on the other hand, is a better candidate for a better Peter Parker, because he's younger.
Voice.
He's still figuring himself out. He's got some of the best qualities of Peter Parker, but he's what?
I don't know. It's so hard for me.
I thought about this last night. And
they all play so well. They all play the role so well for me, and it's so hard. I think all of them interchangeable for Peter Parker. I think Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man because he's the strongest.
Oh, okay. Here's where I'm at.
But
keep going.
I think it's interchangeable. Like anyone could be the best.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's hard. It's very hard.
So here's what I was going to say about Tobey Maguire being the best Peter Parker. Is that he has the most meaningful screen time as Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Because you see, I thought about this. I thought I was a genius. I mean, I already am a genius, but this is a pretty good take, I think. Because when you see Andrew's Peter Parker, he's all with this subplot about being there for Gwen and how Gwen's dad doesn't like him being with Gwen. And it's all a subplot. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is all about how he is going to protect Gwen via her dad's wishes. And I watched it yesterday at the Chinatown scene where they break up. I mean, it's not friendly neighborhood Spider-Man type stuff. I mean, sorry. That's just like a whole Peter Parker subplot, and I don't think that's meaningful to the character of Peter Parker because of the whole subplot with Gwen's dad. Anyway, Tom Holland is second because, I don't know why, just by default. Number 1 is Tobey Maguire. He has the most meaningful screen time as Peter Parker, and that's because, like when he finds, this could be a Spider-Man argument as well. When he finds Uncle Ben, I watched a 30-minute recap, so I know what goes on. When he finds Uncle Ben after, is it Clint or Flint? Marco kills him after he could have stopped him. That's a big. He failed as Peter Parker. Now he's trying to go out and avenge Uncle Ben's death as Spider-Man. And then how he handles being friends with somebody who's trying to, like, a relative of someone who's trying to kill him. As with Harry Osborn. And, like, your best friend's dad is trying to kill you. And yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I'm just circling back to other stuff here. So
all we know, and we can agree on this, they all play great roles for Spider-Man.
Of course. And
it could be changed by any given day. If they give another Andrew Garfield movie, maybe it'll change the way he plays it. If they give they're not going to give another Toby movie, but if Tom Holland comes out with another great movie, then maybe that will change. So
yeah. So in conclusion, the movie was fantastic. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Go see it.
I hope you're not watching this or listening to this if you haven't seen it.
But it's their fault for not seeing it. So go see the movie now. Yeah. Okay. I thought we weren't recording. My mixer wasn't up. Okay. That's going to do it for the review. If you listen to both episodes that came out today, thank you. I love you. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. like the video. Follow the show on Instagram at the Ryan Canfield Show. Plug your Twitter.
Connor Lane 241
on Twitter, and then I'm RPC vs. the World on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed Spider-Man review. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
See you later.